Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2020 movie Escape from Pretoria. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we are taken to 1979 where we see a lot of South Africans protesting for their rights. They're protesting against the British who have been oppressing them for decades. As we see them protesting, the camera turns around and we see many black men lying dead on the ground. It turns out the British are killing the protesters by opening fire on them. We go on to learn that an organization called the African National Congress, or ANC, has been formed, and our main character named Tim Jenkin is a part of that organization. He also has a friend named Stephen Lee. Stephen also happens to be a member of ANC. They are out on the roads to spread the pamphlets of ANC. However, their style of distributing those pamphlets is very different from usual, as we go on to see that they have these pamphlets in multiple bombs and are going to detonate those bombs to spread the pamphlets when they have taken the bags to the locations. Jenkin goes on to tell Stephen that they should get out of there because they have done the job. Stephen, however, says that he wants to stay and see how it goes. This is when those explosives explode and the pamphlets are spread all over the streets. These explosives are not at all harmful to any passerby. Their purpose is to spread the pamphlets to get the message of ANC to the common people. It turns out what they have done is thoroughly illegal and the two are right away arrested by the police. When they are at the police station, Jenkin's girlfriend comes to see him. She gives him some money, some chemicals, and kisses him before she leaves. The two are taken to the court where Tim Jenkin is sentenced to 12 years and Lee is sentenced to 8. Stephen tries to run from the court but ends up getting caught. The two are then sent to a prison called Pretoria, and this prison is, of course, handled by white people. The rules in this prison are really challenging. When they get to the prison, the jailer goes on to tell them that they are traitors to the country, and now they are going to burn in this place. They are escorted to their cell. They go through many doors, and Tim keeps noticing all of the doors, making it abundantly clear that he has no plan of staying in this place for 12 long years. He wants to get out of this place. Tim and Stephen are then locked up in their cells. They share a common wall so they can communicate with each other from their respective cells. When Tim is out for lunch, he goes on to see a man named Dennis. He tells him that he has been imprisoned because of the same crime as Tim. He also tries to raise his voice against the brutality of the oppressors. He then goes on to tell Tim about a few important things about the prison. He shows them a group of men wearing blue shirts, telling him that they are not supposed to sit with that group because the ones wearing the blue shirts are murderers. Tim and Dennis were wearing gray, and they have their own group. The people wearing blue are considered to be the most dangerous ones. Tim then goes on to introduce Dennis to Stephen and tells him that he has been sentenced to 12 years in jail and Stephen got 8. He, however, tells Dennis that they have no plan of staying in prison for this long. The three then go outside for jogging, and Dennis tells them about the structure of the prison. He says that this prison is the most well-guarded prison. The walls are over 20 feet high, and then there is this fence that has been electrocuted. On top of that, the walls are always seen by the guards, and they will not hesitate to shoot. Dennis adds that if they are thinking about digging a tunnel, that would also be a stupid idea because they are going to keep ending up inside the prison. He tells both the boys that no one has ever been able to escape this prison, and neither has anyone tried to, so they should not try any such thing either. He leaves after that. The two are really disappointed, and this is when they are approached by another prisoner named Leonard, who goes on to tell them that Dennis has a habit of discouraging the new prisoners. He then tells them that many prisoners have tried to escape the prison, but no one has yet been successful. Leonard then goes on to add that if they are thinking about breaking out of the prison, they can very much consider him in. As the three talk, they are being watched by the captain of the jail. 23 days go by just like that. Tim has been noticing a lot of things in the prison, and he has been keeping a close eye on the locks. One day he comes up with an idea. When they are showering, he tells his mates that they can get out of the prison if they are able to make wooden keys to these locks. Leonard says that wooden keys can very much break, so this idea is not going to work. Tim says that it could work, adding that they could get the wood from the workshop in the prison. One day when they are having lunch, Leonard goes on to drop his plate on purpose to draw the guard toward him. The guard goes on to scold him while Tim takes a close look at the patterns of the keys hanging by the pants of that guard. Whenever Tim looks at the keys the next few days, he keeps noticing the patterns so that he is able to come up with the right wooden keys. He then starts to work on the wooden keys. He has made all the patterns on a piece of paper and then goes on to bring the wooden pieces from the workshop, which is not an easy task. One night he spends a lot of time working on the key of his cell door. He ends up making one and it works. He's overjoyed, but his joy is cut short when he sees that the next door is made of steel and it is really thick. It has a giant lock, and to be able to make a key for this is going to be hard. He ends up making a key for the big lock too, and then comes the time to test it. Leonard goes on to guard the other gate, keeping an eye on the guards while Tim tries to check the key. It works. He opens the big locks as well, but when he tries to retract the key, it breaks inside, and this is when Leonard goes on to signal that someone is coming. They panic because they cannot leave the broken key inside as it would alert the guards. He manages to get the key out, but the lock is still open. All three of them are in a state of panic because Mongo, the guard, is going to know something is wrong when he finds the lock open. That evening, Mongo comes to the hallway checking all the locks, and when he gets to the big locks, he finds it opened, of course. He is shocked because he is the only one who has the key to this lock. He, however, gives himself the benefit of the doubt and leaves without doing anything about the opened lock. Tim takes a sigh of relief. 142 days go by just like that, and these three still have not been able to find a way to open the locks and break out of the prison without being seen by the guards. They can make the key for the big lock, but it opens from the outside, and that is not possible. Leonard then comes with an idea. He says that they can reach the lock from the outside and insert the key in it using a thin rope. Tim says that they might be able to get the key inside the lock by using this method, but they are not going to be able to rotate the key inside the lock by using a rope, and the only way to open that lock is by rotating the key. One advantage they have is that the main door lock is near the window of their cell. They can open the lock while being inside the cell if they get access to it from inside the cell. They come up with an idea. Steven has a mopping stick in his hand. They try to measure the length of the stick, but it does not reach the lock from the inside of the cell. Tim even cracks this code too. He attached a small piece of wood to the stick, and now they can reach the lock. The main thing is that they can even rotate this added piece of wood, meaning that they can unlock the door by rotating the key. He tests it that night and it works, but when he is retracting the key, he ends up dropping it outside. He again panics because he has to get the key back inside the cell at any cost. He keeps trying for a long time, but nothing works. He then uses a chewing gum to try and get the key stuck with the stick. It finally works, and he takes a sigh of relief. The next day, he tells the other two that he finally opened the door, and the three are excited to learn this. Later on, they decide to bury the keys outside because cells could be searched at any time. Dennis is also there, and he goes on to tell them that whatever they're trying to do, they better be careful, because if they're caught while trying to escape, they're going to spend 25 years inside the prison. Mongo sees the group and he suspects that something is wrong. He approaches them and leaves without saying much. That night, they are able to open yet another door, but they still have no idea how many doors are left. The next night, Tim and Leonard go on to do a test run by using keys to leave their cells. They hide in a closet as the night guard walks by. The guard goes on to check the cells to see if all the prisoners are still inside, and when he gets to Tim's cell, we see that Tim has made his bed in a way which makes it seem like there is someone sleeping on it. Leonard has done the same thing. As the guard checks the cells, Tim opens further doors trying to do as much as he can. The guard again comes towards them, and they go on to hide in the same closet. When the guard is gone, they get back to their cells. The next day, all the cells are to be searched. All the prisoners are told to get out of their cells right away. When the captain of the prison comes to Tim's cell, Tim is still inside as he's trying to hide the parts of the keys in a mug. The captain suspects that Tim is up to something. He also gives him a lot of crap for not coming out of prison. He then thoroughly searches Tim's cell. The captain throws away his things and finally gets to the mug. When he drops the mug, he gets his hands on those small parts of the keys. He goes on to ask Tim what this is, and Tim panics. He right away comes up with an idea and tells the captain that this thing is used as the photo holder, and even goes on to demonstrate it for the captain. That day, Tim decides that he is never going to bring the keys to his cell again. For the next few days, all three of them come out of their cells every night and check further doors to try and unlock those doors. Tim manages to get a newspaper from another worker in the prison and keeps it with him. They have now discovered 15 doors and happen to have 40 keys. That day, they call Dennis and some other prisoners. They tell them that they have the keys and offer Dennis and the others to join them. Dennis goes on to say that he is not going to join them, but he can help them. That night, Tim manages to give that paper to Steven. This paper actually contains the whole map of this prison, and they can now try to figure out from which way they can get out. That night, when they leave their cells, they keep opening the doors one by one and keep going forward. When the guard goes to the bathroom, they go on to hurry, but he comes back very quickly. They hide in a cabin, and the guard is seen approaching that very cabin. This is when Dennis goes on to break the bulb in his cell, and it causes all the bulbs to switch off. He then starts calling the guard to repair the bulb in order to buy the other three the time they need to unlock and escape. They now have the biggest challenge in front of them. They are in front of an electric door which can only be opened in the guard's room. Leonard manages to get inside the guard's room and opens it. Then comes the final door. They try all the keys, but the door does not open. Leonard then goes on to break that door. It makes a lot of noise, but no one hears it, and the door is broken. They wear other clothes so they are not spotted as prisoners. The main gate of the prison is opened already. They then pretend to be workers and get out of the prison when the guard is looking away. When they are walking on the street among the other people, Mongo is there, but he does not see them. When they are a little further away from the prison, they start running and get out of there. They then take a taxi. The three have a sigh of relief as the driver drives them away from the prison. The three are overjoyed, and Tim has tears of happiness in his eyes. That morning, when Mongo goes to the cell to unlock it, he is shocked to his core when he does not find them there, while Dennis and the other prisoners laugh at him. The three shout as they exclaim their joy. They cross the border and then make it to London, where they yet again go on to join ANC. Dennis is also released from jail in 1985, and he is able to see his family too. Tim's girlfriend is also arrested and kept in custody for 9 days, but Tim never goes to see her. With them free from prison, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.